Good morning, students. Welcome back to Computer Applications classes. In this session, we are going to cover the Internet services and mobile technologies. Let us have a look what are the different topics that we are going to cover. First, the services available on the Internet, which includes the information retrieval, locating sites using search engines, and finding people on the net. Then the different web services like chat, email, video conferencing, e-learning, e-banking, e-shopping, e-reservation, e-governance, e-groups, social networking. Then mobile technologies, which includes SMS, MMS, 3G, 4G. Okay, so let us start with the information retrieval. What do you mean by this information retrieval? We often do this, right? Like the exploring of the web. This is nothing but net surfing. So for that, we require basically web browser, search engine and ISP. What is this ISP? This is Internet Service Provider. Can you tell me some examples of ISP? Like Jio, then Airtel. So the connections with which we can have our internet connection. Now web browser, in the first session we have already discussed what is a web browser, the application program with which we can search over internet, right? Now search engine in detail we will be learning in our coming slide. Okay, now search engine, a program that searches for and identifies items in a database that correspond to keywords or characters specified by the user. It usually specially for finding particular site on the World Wide Web. That means, suppose I want to search. Where do you search? Basically, we search in Google, right? So that is the biggest popular or best popular search engine that we use. That is the Google. There is Bing, and there are some more examples that I have already given over here on the screen. You can see Google, Bing, Yahoo, Ask, AOL, Wow. So these are the and their URLs are also been given. You can just have a look. Now in the next slide we will be learning how search engine works. So we know that from the search engine we can get the information. The moment I'll write APS Panagarh, I'll get the information regarding APS Panagarh. Whatever is being fed in internet, obviously that has been fed with some person only, with some human being only, right? If anything doesn't exist, then it will give you data not found, okay, or no result found. So let us see how the search engine works. So Spider, the search engine actually works depending upon three different elements. One, it is Spider, then indexing software, then it is search algorithm. So what this Spider is actually doing? This one. The Spider, it can be called as web crawlers, boot or agents. So what it does, like we have got a comb to comb our hair, in the same way the Spider combs the internet to search any web or document, okay, the web based documents. So they are given direction from the search engine, and then they crawl from this one server to another. So they are actually searching for that. And finally, these crawlers, basically the web crawlers or the spiders, make a list of related URLs, that these are the particular list of the URLs where it can get the information. After that, in the indexing software and the database, in this, after that list is created of particular URLs that has been given to the indexing software. Now the indexing software, what it does, it extracted all the information, okay, from the documents and the web addresses, and then prepares an index of it, and then it saves this to the database. Getting it? What the next one? This search algorithm is doing. When you enter any keyword to search, the search engine searches its database using a particular search method, and that method is actually the search algorithm. I hope the whole process of search engine is clear to you all. Now let us proceed with the next slide, that is email. We already know what is an email address, right? I have given an example, tacasa@hotmail.com. We know which one is the username and which one is the odd domain name, right? But then also I'm just telling the first one, this one is the username, and the next part, which is separated by the @ is the domain name. We need to learn what is the structure of an email. Okay. So here on the screen we can see from, to, CC, BCC, subject, body, attachment, state and message ID. This is the whole structure of email. Now in from we need to write who is the sender. We have to write the address of the sender, the email address, and then in to we need to write over here, in to we need to write the address of the recipient to whom I want to send. Then CC and BCC, this is very important, and questions generally comes that what is the difference between CC and BCC. So CC stands for carbon copy and BCC stands for blind carbon copy. You have to understand blind means what? Who cannot see, right? So over here, carbon copy, when I'm sending a data on email to someone, that person can understand, right? But if I send one email to 2 to 3 persons, and if I write their email ID in CC, then everyone will be understood, okay, this email is sent to all these other persons also. But if I write their names in BCC, then no one will understand this mail is sent to some other person also. Okay, you are the person who will be able to know that I have sent the mail to someone else or more than 2, right? Then subject, you have to write a particular subject of that email, like you write for applications. Then body, whatever message you want to write, and whatever attachments, like you want to attach some PDF file, some PPT file, some short music file, right? So that all. Then date, the particular date on which you are going to send, and then the message ID, that is automatically created, you don't have to do anything. Now what are the terminologies related to email? This is again questions comes, what do you mean by replying or forwarding email? What do you mean by inbox? What do you mean by sent box? What do you mean by draft? So let us discuss that. Replying email, reply is only sending the new message to the original sender. And forwarding means it allows you to type a new, in a whole new set of recipients. Got it? Suppose I have got an email from A person, and I want to send that whole same email to the next person. So I will forward, like you forward the same message from in WhatsApp. You do not edit anything, right? You just change the recipient. You send it to someone else. So that is sending to someone else is your forwarding. But sending the message or replying to a particular message from where you have got the mail or from wherever you got the message, that is replying. Hope the difference between replying and forwarding email you have understood. Now what is this inbox? The folder which stores received mails, like you have got in your mobiles, the smartphones or the normal older phone, keypad phones also. Then sent box, the folder that stores sent mails, like whatever mails I have sent, that has been stored in the sent box. And draft, suppose I have written some mail but I haven't sent, so that will be, those email messages will be kept in draft. Okay, You have to write it, and then that will be saved in draft. Now, what is the difference between spam versus and junk mail? This is again an important question. This is very important question. Okay. Now, spam is actually as irrelevant or inappropriate messages sent to the internet to large, so in bulk. In bulk, if I write that bulk messages, that is also a correct answer. And what is junk mail? It is you have to remember this word, unsolicited. If anytime question comes what is junk mail, you have to always mention this word, unsolicited. Unsolicited advertising or promotional material which is just not appropriate, okay, which is just not required. So received through mail or email, that is your junk mail. Now let us proceed to the next slide. What are the different web services? So web services, what do you mean by web services? It is nothing but the services that is available over internet or which can be placed when two electronic devices are connected. So basically over internet, whatever services you are having, that is your web services. Let us see what web services we are having. Like chat. All of you do chat, right? Your web, like WhatsApp, what you are doing over there? You are chatting, you are sending messages to someone and getting the message right there, right? So over here, chat means what? Online chat. It can be referred to any kind of communication over internet that offers a real-time transmission of text messages from sender to receiver and receiver. Okay. So this chat can also be called as online textual chat. So there is nothing to understand much in this. You have to just remember one thing. Whatever chat you can do over net, so that is considered as chat only. Now, what are the different types of chats you are having? One IM, that is instant messaging, for example Skype, then ICQ, then internet relay chat and web-based chat. These are the basic types, or you can have some examples of it. Now after chat we have got video conferencing. I don't have to specify much more on video conferencing. We all have done it now and then, like video calling and all. Like suppose this is the best time to give an example of video conferencing. Like this, in this time of lockdown, when you cannot move out of your home, but you want to have a meeting, a conference call. So you want to have it in video conferencing, where you can have the persons virtually. So face-to-face meetings can be done without sitting in a single location. So that is the best advantage of your video conferencing. We have some more advantages of it video conferencing, like it allows to communicate remotely, face-to-face, then more personable than a phone call. Obviously, over video conferencing, you can see the expressions and all. It saves your money of travel, right? Accessible anywhere, anytime you can do. Like quicker decisions and timely interventions. It can collaborate your work document sharing and happier employees with higher job retention. And what are the disadvantages? Obviously, if something is having some advantage, obviously it will have some disadvantage. Suppose your internet is not working properly. Obviously, video conferencing cannot be done, right? And one more, some technical issues. If I want to show some practical properly or some employee training I want to do in an organization, then it will be a hassle for me. And one more, it is very stressful for me if I cannot arrange the proper hardware for the video conferencing, or my mobile is hanging, something is happening over it, then it will be a problematic one. Now what is e-learning? What you are doing right now, it is e-learning only. So any learning which is based on electrical devices or electronically stimulated environment. So that is only e-learning. Either you are learning from internet, either you are learning from video, either you are learning from PDF. Any digitally mediated learning is e-learning. So you just see, you can only tell me what are the advantages of e-learning. At any time you can get your videos, you can access that anytime, right? So very convenient, very flexible. You can work full time at home. Then what else? It promotes active and independent learning. You have to use your own brain to understand, and you can access it 24/7 hours. So it is very useful. Now, after that, let us go to e-banking. This is another web service. This e-banking can also be called as virtual banking, online banking, or internet banking, or mobile banking as well. So it is availing banking services through electronic measures. This is the basic definition of e-banking, wherein we can get all the banking services through electronic measures. So let us see what are the banking services that we can have over internet. We can have our account management, we can pay bills, new account opening, consumer wire transfers, okay, then some applications of loan. All these things can be done in internet banking. You should know some websites for internet banking as well as for e-learning, chat and all. Whatever services we are learning, you should know one websites also. Now, e-shopping. What else I have to do? I have to say in e-shopping, it is nothing but the online shopping, right? We do it from Myntra, we do it from Amazon, we do it from Flipkart, right? Anytime we sell or we buy from electronic commerce, that is your e-shopping or online shopping. Now let us see what are the advantages and disadvantages. Over the screen you can see the table which is having advantages and disadvantages of online shopping. Let me go through first with the advantages. It is very convenient, better prices, variety, easy to send gifts, very controllable, then easy price comparison, no crowds obviously, no sales pressure, right? Access to used or damaged inventory and privacy for discrete purchases. Wherein, what are the disadvantages? Negative environmental impact of packaging and gas, shipping problems, risk of fraud, less contact with your community, spending too much time online, returns can be complicated, you don't know exactly what you are getting, unfriendly, scammy, complicated websites, no sales assistance, and no support of local retailers. Got it? So when you are going through online shopping, these are the advantages and disadvantages of e-shopping. Now, what are the threats of e-shopping? This is very important. The threats can be gaining access to sensitive data. Suppose you are entering your credit cards and all, and someone has seen. So they can get your information from there, or the system is corrupted with virus, or some unsolicited or unwanted spam is entering into your computer. Then someone can access your shopping history and can understand what type of things you buy regularly. Then one more thing, someone can access your location details. Get it? Now, what are the security concerns that we should be aware and that should be our concern while online shopping? First, one can trick you. Like, one can do the surveillance of your behavior, shopping behavior, and then gather your information. So then one more is snooping. These are the technical terms that you should be aware. Now snooping is nothing but one can casually observe your email that appears on another computer screen and watching what someone else is typing to capture passwords and login information. So this is very important. Whenever you are entering your login and something, login ID or your password or your any credentials, be alert that no one is looking into your screen of computer or your mobile. Then sniffing is nothing but attacker monitors the computer between shopper and the server. So whenever you are entering your passwords, your CVC number, your card number, you have to be very alert that what website you are using. For this, another concern is there, that is phishing, that there are number of fake sites with almost similar type of spellings with the famous sites. So the hackers are doing what? They are making such type of websites and making the persons, the innocent persons, fools. So you don't be a fool anytime. Now next is e-reservation. Reservation means what? To book something, right? E-reservation means online booking. So making reservations of tickets or hotels or anything, that is your e-reservation. So it's very beneficial for us, like safety, easy, available anywhere, and it is very fast, right? Then e-governance. E-governance is the application of electronic means in governance with an aim that the common man's problem or their requirements are fulfilled at a particular and faster pace, like income tax portal, Indian passport office. All these are done with the help of electronic means. And who is doing it? Government is doing. Let us see some e-commerce. E-commerce is a commercial transaction which has happened over the internet. It is nothing but, again, online shopping is part of e-commerce only. Let us have a look on the different types of e-commerce. Now, one more thing, this type of e-commerce and type of e-governance will almost same. Okay. Number 1, G2C, government to citizen. Number 2, G2B, government to business. Then G2G, government to government, that is public sector. Then B2B, business to business, business to consumer, consumer to consumer, and consumer to business. Now I'll explain one by one. G2C, that is government to citizen. Over here, what is happening? The government is sending something to the consumers. So that is your government to citizens or consumers. Then government to business. So anything, for anything, if government is giving to business or any money, so that is your government to business. Is government to government, like one government, like government of Pune is sending something to government of some other state. So that is a government to government. What is business to business? One business, like Amazon is dealing with some other Myntra or some other company. So that is business within them. Then business to consumer, like Amazon is giving something to me. I'm selling, I'm buying something. So that is business to consumer. If consumer to consumer, like OLX and all, you are selling something from one old one to some other person, and that is also a consumer. So even I am a consumer, so that is consumer to consumer. If one other is consumer to business, like we exchange our mobiles while buying a new one, so that is your consumer to business. Hope this is clear to you all. Now what is e-groups? An online community where people discuss on common interest. Again, you can compare this with your social networking, with your any discussion forum. Okay, but you would think that what is the difference between this? The basic difference of e-groups with an email also is a discussion board. I have told you in a discussion forum, like Over here, whatever we are going to send it, post it, that is particularly called as post. What is the benefit? Keep in touch with other members. You can have new friends and build a community without any technical hassles. Okay. Now let us see what is social networking. All of you know what is social networking, right? We all do Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Not necessarily you have to do, but you should know. Now, an online platform where you can build your social networks, where you can get your persons of similar interest, activities, backgrounds, your real life connections, like very old friend of your mother or your uncle. They can meet, they can identify them and have a connection with them. So what are the merits of it? Easy to connect with people, easy to hold discussions and collect opinions. Then interactive involvement brings more awareness. But again, there are a number of disadvantages, demerits. Misusing of data posted. Suppose I have posted some data that can be misinterpreted and again reposted with some other meaning. Then credibility of information. Whatever information you are posting, suppose you are saying that I am going to picnic to somewhere else. So someone can use that information as well. Some fake profile. So be aware whenever you chat with any stranger. Please do not chat with the strangers. That is the first thing. Then bullying or trolling. You all know that the celebrities and all, everyone are trolled for their particular sentence or statements or posts. Okay. Then peer pressure. Like if I am not doing Facebook and someone of my friend is doing Facebook, or if I am not posting, someone of my friend is posting, then the next person will think, oh God, that person is getting comments, that person is getting tags, likes, why I am not getting? So that is again a peer pressure. Then irresponsible behavior. When you are always doing the social networking, Facebook and all, you become very irresponsible. As a your behavior become very irresponsible. You do not take care of your neighborhood, your surroundings, okay, in your social life. Then you become very attention seeker. This is again an addiction or a disorder. Like you always think that why that person is not giving me like, why that person is getting like, why I am not getting. So this type of things comes in your mind. So whatever you are doing, do not do at very higher rate. Now let us see some features what we can have in our social networking. This is not that important, but you should be aware. The user profiles, then blog engines, photo albums, groups, discussion boards, media galleries, activity streams, messaging, walls, comments, tags. Okay. So hope these features are clear to you all. Now let us see what are the service providers in social networking site. This is not the ISP, okay? Do not mix it with it. ISP is different and the service providers are different. These are basically the networking models. Like friendship social networking. So for that, Friendstar. Then business social networking like LinkedIn. Okay. This one, LinkedIn. Then hobby social networking, for that Graden Web. Then information social networking, for that Investopedia. Then educational social networking, for that Maths Forum, Go IIT, Student Room. Then new social networking, then Yahoo Voices, okay, Helium. All these are different types of social networking sites only. Now let us see what are the different mobile technologies we are having. The SMS, short message service, that we are doing from our childhood, right? Text messaging. So it is nothing but the text messaging service. The components of most telephone, internet and mobile device systems. This is the basic message or service we are having. And maximum we can send 160 characters from one mobile to And even if suppose you have written 250 characters, so that 250 will be split into two different messages and then it will be sent. The next one we have got MMS, Multimedia Messaging Service. It allows users to send multimedia messages to each other. Multimedia messages means it includes images, videos, audio, sounds. Okay. Now let us see what is 3G and 4G. This G stands for generation of mobile technology. And the moment we have got 3, 4, obviously you can understand this. Obviously 3G is slower than 4G. Nowadays we are using 4G and then we are also expecting to have 5G, 6G also, right? Let us see what is the difference between 3G and 4G. You can see with respect to data rate, data rate 3G is slower than the 4G. Internet services again, mobile TV resolution, bandwidth, frequency, network architecture, signal quality. So all these are the criteria over where we can see 3G is slower than 4G, right? I hope this difference is clear to you all. So with this, we are ending with our unit 1. And if you have any doubt, do contact me. I am always available for your doubt clearance. Solve the worksheets whichever I am sending to you based on the particular videos. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Thank you.